Hi guys, so this story is back in the news it seems. The idea that Nigel Farage should be courted to help Britain negotiate better trade conditions or even a trade deal with Donald Trump's America. So there are two fundamental problems with such a position. First, that Nigel Farage would do something in the interest of the British people. He's convinced them on a number of occasions to vote against their own interests. And second, that he would do something to help a Labour government. Remember, he's in opposition to the Labour government. Political commentator Jemma Forte had the perfect response to this and had an interesting, if yet perhaps rude, definition for Nigel Farage. Enjoy.
I don't think Farage should have anything to do with it. Labour are in power. They've got, Mandelson's on the job. He's a big boy. He can go and handle the diplomacy. As if Trump is going to make up his mind on a trade deal because he's got political fluffer there flirting with him. I mean, really, the world is run by these fragile men. They need to have their best friend there to broker a deal. I don't think so.
Well, we're in this strange position, though, Jim, aren't we? Where Brexit arguably hasn't gone very well.
I'd argue that, yeah.
However, it does put us in a situation where we're not the EU and where Trump, conceivably, Trump is obviously going to go in properly swinging at the EU like Tyson Fury. But he'll leave us out of that battle. That's all I'm thinking.
Maybe. But he's also America first. He's going to do it if it suits him. And, he's fairly unpredictable. And, of course, we don't want the tariffs ideally. But the idea that Farage will make a fudge of difference. And I tell you what, also, this is really confected. Farage is great for clicks, he's great for the media, he's great for question time, he's great for shows like this. That's what he's good for. He's not good for the country. And actually, the idea where the Mail and the Telegraph, there's this tsunami of reform coming. They've just had the aggregate result of the council elections. After the election, they contested 168 seats, and they didn't get any of them.
Yeah, well, I suppose that if they're newcomers, they might not. But I don't know,
You've also got to remember, Gemma...
They lost 168.
Almost every member of the front bench of the Labour cabinet has at some stage insulted Donald Trump, right? Yeah. So, you can't feel proud of that. You've got to say that was a mistake.
No.
Labour sent 100 people over to try and make...
genuinely felt.
Hang on, to try and make sure Trump didn't get into office. The only person he trusts in this country is Nigel Farage, and therefore Farage has got loads to offer to help bond the relationship between the US and us.
Oh, God, that is pathetic. Like a fan. It's really actually quite degrading. I tell you what, the fact that people have spoken out against a man who's a adjudicated rapist and a convicted felon is fine with me, and who incited, the Capitol Hill riots, that's absolutely fine. Trump has insulted every single person he fancies, and the person that is being quoted in this is actually not anything to do with the Trump administration necessarily. So his view might be neither here nor there.
Right.
Labour have to show their teeth and not look like wet blankets.
Well said, well said. Labour need to show their teeth. They need to stand up to people like Trump because Trump respects strength. He hates weakness. That's why he's such a huge fan of Vladimir Putin. Now, the other... this is beyond ridiculous. This idea that Nigel Farage could be some sort of go-between. Now, Farage, it seems, has presented himself, has said, look, I'm willing to do this, but there are a number of problems, as was pointed out with this idea. Farage has convinced people on a number of occasions to vote against their own interests. So why would Nigel Farage go to the US to serve British interests? He's not interested in British interests, he's interested in his own. Can someone point to something Nigel Farage has done which has benefited Britain? Nothing. There's nothing. If you want to talk about Brexit, you'll end up having to look for benefits of Brexit. But then whenever you talk about Brexit, Nigel Farage says it's not his fault. So there's nothing Nigel Farage can present as a benefit to Britain that he has achieved. So what do people expect him to achieve if he goes to the US to work as some sort of unofficial ambassador? And the other problem is that if something is achieved, let's say for the sake of argument there is a trade deal and Farage is involved in some way, well, if it goes well, Farage will claim the glory. And how is this going to help a Labour government? And if it goes badly, well, Farage will say it's nothing to do with me, as he's done with Brexit. He will say, I tried to convince the Labour government to put the NHS on the table and they said no. I tried to extract more concessions from the Labour government and they said no, so it's their fault. So if it goes well, Farage will try to claim some sort of victory. If it goes badly, nothing to do with him. But a trade deal would not be good for Britain, and I've mentioned before why. So when it comes to dealing with Donald Trump, the Labour government needs to be strong. The Labour government will not be in a strong position, but on a personal level, they have to appear strong because Trump respects that. Being overly diplomatic probably is not going to work. So you have to appear tough, even if you're not in a strong position. But the idea that Nigel Farage is going to benefit Britain in any way is for the birds. He wants influence. He wants to be the centre of attention. And as Jemma Forte has pointed out here, he's good for social media, he's good for clicks, he's good for talk shows. But he's not going to benefit the UK in any real way. He would only be there to satisfy his own position. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.